So I office right between our CFO and another gentleman that handled the application process. So they're smarter guys than me, but I've been able to hear the tears and the wailing and gnashing of teeth going back and forth. But it's an exhaustive process, but it should be, and we're glad it is, both as a company and as a taxpayer, because we don't want this program to just hand out money to anything that comes along, because there will be failures, funding will get cut. We need these programs in the bioeconomy, but as applicants, we need to be able to prove that we demonstrate that we can meet the hurdles required by such programs, and it's a privilege to be able to be included in a program like this, and part of that privilege carries that responsibility of demonstrating the feasibility, the viability, the technology is what it says it is.
And my last follow-up is maybe addressed a little bit in the sense that Sam mentioned the value of debt. And we think initially many of our clients think of value of debt as kind of a leap between 2 points, right? But in reality, it ends up being a journey. So in a sense of resolving or working through the value of debt, how has that journey affected?
Well, you pulled up a picture of Death Valley, and that's pretty close to my house. And what it doesn't show is the rattlesnakes, the sun burn, the heat stroke, the wind, all these other obstacles that you have through this valley of death. And to stay with that allegory, I guess, what it's provided us is a covered wagon with a team of oxen to help us pull through that. And it doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't. We still have to create the market. We have to do what we need to do. But it gives us a chance. It gives us a very good chance of success where we might not have had such odds before going through that. And so it's a program that is vital to us. It's vital to the industry. And it's, I mean, I do the government relations work for our company. I bring in the mail. I do a lot of things. But some outside of this city, outside of government, don't understand the challenges of getting a program like this through Congress and authorized. And so we are, again, we're pioneers in a sense, but we're crossing bridges that were built by many of you and many of the organizations that have worked and advocated for these kind of programs, and people who see the value of the bioeconomy and the jobs that can be created, the benefit to the environment, the benefit to ag, and so we're grateful to be participants.
Thank you. I'm going to move off the valley of death to have our Q&A session. Would love to entertain any of your questions you might have, please. And would you mind just for our benefit stating who you are, your name, and where who you with?
Sure. My name is Ramni Narayan. I'm with Michigan State University. This is a question to both of you. This is a loan program, as I understand it, and there's got to be an interest rate associated with that. And one of the things I found out with the local state loan program is the interest rates, at least there was 8%. And the small company which I helped with the technology found out that the interest payments by the time your plant or your manufacturing plant comes to fruition to sell product becomes so heavy that the payment of the interest is going to kind of drag you down. So is there provisions which says that the interest payments will be held till your product goes, or how do you think you're going to tackle that issue of loan payments, which is going to start ballooning as you move along?
Right. Yeah, just to clarify a little bit, the program is a guaranteed loan program, so the interest rate itself is structured between the borrower and the lender. Our program guarantees a portion of the loan depending on the size of the loan. Loans can be up to $250 million. Smaller loans, $150 million less, we can guarantee up to 80% of that loan. So in essence, a commercial lender is going to price the loan. The guaranteed portion, they're not at risk yet. The government's 100% risk on the guaranteed portion. So their interest rates will be pretty favorable on that portion of it. It's the at-risk part that may be a little bit higher interest rate, a bit more of a structure. Okay?
Give some numbers, because I can tell you at 8%, it's a total drag on the
Yeah,
especially a small company like, I'm not sure what your biosynthetics
We're a
is,
small
but
company.
if it is a small
Yeah.
company, if if you have zero revenues coming in and your monthly payment is $40,000 a month, which I'm giving actual numbers, where is that money going to come from?
Right. Generally, as we structure the deal, with financing, with some equity structure, generally payments would not start until the project has revenue.
Okay, that's the key to the whole thing.
Right.
And there are typically some reserves built in there as well to help through that period. And you didn't ask me the question. You want me to-
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, it's still a question to you. How do you plan to pay all this alone?
Need more demonstration projects. It is not, it is a loan guarantee and the rates negotiated between the bank, and it's not the least expensive money available out there if you're Exxon or a huge corporation. If you're a startup, it may be. And it's certainly cheaper money than giving away all the equity in the company. And so that's kind of the, that's kind of the hurdle. So it's an opportunity to start and to get going and to generate revenues. And I may be speaking completely out of school here, and I don't know the ins and outs and the specifics of our company's loan, but I assume that the government, if we could pay it back faster, would rather have us do that and have the liability go away and have us be successful and have us, take that off their books and let them turn around and do it for somebody else.
Just a follow-up on that. Absolutely, this is not a critique on what's going on. I'm just cautioning that what has happened is that if you don't structure it, that the payments, whatever they are, does not start till the plant is commissioned and you start selling, because it's not going to happen the day you sign your loan. You're not going to generate revenue. It will take 2 years optimistically to have a big plant and then a product going out.
One of the things I've been impressed with this program and our team is to watch the level of sophistication of the applicants who come in and are successful with the 9003 program. Certainly for our smaller programs, we have financing programs that help provide revolving loans of $50,000 or up to $250,000, or loan guarantees up to $25 million. And this program is our big kahuna, where we can really help a large project of $250 million. As all of you who are business folk know, that the level of sophistication demanded of the folks going in with their lenders, taking their equity, we have much higher expectations, as does the lender partner that we have with, the larger and more complicated the project is. So, who else has a question?
Now, there's not a minimum on the loan side. We do have some small projects. We want to divide that, if you're looking for a smaller activity that you can't qualify, you could qualify.
What is the smallest one we have? 9?
9 million is the
Yeah.
smallest request.
So it could be 250, or you can have the smaller project.
Bill Smith with BioLink. What's the total size of the funding per year, I guess, available?
There it gets into a bit of government speak. So the program itself is funded through, right now, funds through the Farm Bill. So we refer to it as mandatory funds. But what they're funding is basically the government's cost of risk of loss. So it's referred to as budget authority, or the subsidy of the loan. So then we look at each loan, each project that we're supposed to fund, and basically we price what our risk is on that, and then calculate a subsidy rate. So every project can be different, so I can't give you a direct answer. The Farm Bill provides $100 million of budget authority. We estimate that will provide somewhere around $600 to $1 billion of program level for funding for projects. Now, of that amount, 15% is set aside for bio-based product manufacturing. Until we utilize it, right now we don't have any applications, as I mentioned. If you look at the list we had before, they were all biorefineries. None of them are manufacturing components.
So is Greg considered, are you considered Biorefinery?
Biorefinery. Again, manufacturers taking a product from a biorefinery and producing an end user product. Could be, there's some overlap between the two. But right now, we still have funds available for the manufacturing. So.
Great.
One of the things that I know manufacturers have wrestled with in the past is, now we have USDA has a lot of really good contract language. And then you guys are going out and you have the ability to support hospitals being built or insulation, to use the example of what you're doing. Is there any way we can ever vary so that the communities that you're supporting through this new construction, for example, would give a preference to the bio-based products and help create the demand pull? Can we do awareness so that those communities are asking for bio-based when they build these structures or have their fleets or whatever?
Sure. So we talked about it very briefly. We have the ability, in some of our programs, you have preferences, right? I can give an example of a value-added producer grant program that we have. That Congress gives us the ability to add preferences to new beginning farmers. And so they have a bit of preference into that program. But we, as the agency, don't have the ability to tell Congress what the preferences are, because that's a policy call, right? So my recommendation to you, if you really think, gosh, we should really give preference under the B&I program to give preference to these type of applicants, right, that are to create that demand. We can talk to you and work with you on how to package that, but we don't have the authority to put those preferences in. And you can correct me, we've been working in government for 25 years or so.
I agree. Just for clarification, were you also referring to projects that would utilize biomaterials or biopreferred?
Well, for example, Bill has an insulation project. So you want to jump in here, Bill?
Well, I mean, it would be like, if you're if you guys are building a new facility to come online for one of these, like for your project right here, right? There would obviously be insulation needs that you would need. You would have insulation needs, whether it's on your roof system, wall system, what have you. And I'm assuming what you're saying is, how can we pull through that the products that are being used on these projects go and fit back to being, some kind of bio-based materials? So like, for instance, like one of our insulation products, right, it uses, soy-based polyol, and then it has an additional recyclable renewable content, through some of our other specialty polyols that we have into it. So how can we now start to push those pieces back into it?
For example, you're trying to reach farmers
Yeah.
on-farm insulation projects.
Yeah.
So is there a way we can somehow create demand pull?
Yeah.
So, for example, I think unlike a direct government contract where there's bio-preferred,
Yep.
you're providing, let's say, company X gets a rural development grant for energy efficiency.
Yep.
Part of that energy efficiency is insulation. Is there a way to get that community to think about using bio-based as they execute these energy efficiency projects?
So I think my answer does stand.
Unless somebody tells you.
Right. There are, going back to rural development and our mission. At the end of the day, Congress comes back in the single most important indicator that they measure my success as administrator, Mark's success on all our regular programs are often on jobs created. That's our big indicator that we live in rural communities. And so what would be difficult for me is to get in if I'm financing someone who just wants to grow a business and create jobs, and for me to either put preferences to or conditions on the financing that we might be able to offer. Because while we really want to push this as a department, the mission of rural development at the end of the day, bottom line is the economic development of those communities. So until Congress tells me that I can look to for priority, I would be giving preference to some other business over another business. I can't do it until Congress tells me I can. Again, the example, and I'm sorry, the example of the value-added producer grant really comes out, because there is structured in the program. And Congress said you can give priority to new and beginning farmers, right? And so we got to go, and that's about as broad as they often are, and then we get to go back and interpret that and write that into the regulation to actually operationalize those directions. That's how the process works. But boy, we would. I know the secretaries, all coming from the farm to fleet and all things. These are good ideas, but we need some direction. Anything else? I almost want to put it back to the valley of death by ending on that.
There's an optimist.
Sure, yeah. Let me end this by going here. If you're heading back to your various places across our country, and you've heard things today that you want to know more about, you've heard, here are some ways there might be some financing opportunities, either through our business and industry loan guarantee program. We, if you work with associations and you want nonprofits that want to do business development work, there are some grant programs that we didn't talk about. They're not directly to the business, but they're to promote business development. And so a state could work through a nonprofit or a public entity and say, we really want to promote the development of this type of industry because they will ultimately create jobs. There are grant programs for things like that. But this is how you get in touch with us. Each state has a state director. It's a presidentially appointed state director. Each state has a state field staff. And what makes USDA, I believe, rural development unique among almost all other federal agencies is that when you're calling to learn more about the program to see how you work with, if I'm sitting in Wyoming, I don't have to call the Denver regional office, right? There is a state director and a full staff in the state of Wyoming, wherever you're from, and that's the true of every state in our country. So we hope that you take advantage of our products and our financing. We're proud of them. We work real hard at it, but thank you very much for being
I
here.
actually had that brought up one question. Some of the folks that are here manufacture, as we were talking about, intermediates or feedstocks. So they're selling that to businesses to use. One of the obstacles is getting those businesses to say, oh, I might need new equipment, or I might have to change out my equipment. Would the business industry loan guarantees grants be something that could be available? So it might be in the interest of manufacturers who have a product they're selling to people who are going to use it to get educated on your program to help their customers find a way, oh, there's could be some financing for you to make this transition from making your petroleum-based version to making your bio-based version.
And it's not just the B&I program. B&I certainly could offer financing, but in your example, if I'm making a more modern, greener product, and it's replacing, let's call it a machine, right? And some sort of piece of machinery, as Mark talked about this, and I'm selling it to a bunch of different businesses who are buying my product, and there's an energy savings. They're replacing widget maker X with my greener, cleaner, more efficient widget maker, and there's an energy savings you can record there. We see this all the time with vendors going out and saying, great, this will create you an energy savings. Here's a program, you can get a grant that covers 25% of the cost. So essentially, you're getting this at a big discount, and use our. And so that's our grant program. And then if it's a bigger project, we often have take that grant plus USDA can come in with the grant and a loan guarantee for larger acquisitions. So the answer there is yes, for sure. We've seen all, and we encourage that because we only have so much field staff, right? And so our ability for businesses to get out our dollars often is when our field staff might be processing applications in our office and can't always be knocking on doors, talking to businesses. They need to work through partners who can use our dollars to help promote their businesses.
Any other questions? Well, join me in thanking the people. Follow up on that. So it has come to that time of the day. Louis Bainbridge, you want to join me Gail Johnson, I know, has been flagging surveys and collecting surveys. Please, the soybean board did invest a lot of money in the creation of this and execution of this event, and we need your feedback on this program as well as what can be done in the future. So with that, I want to ask Louis to make some closing remarks.
Wow, what a lot of information and a wonderful day here for all this discussion and so forth. Today's discussion is a reminder of the opportunities as well as the obstacles facing bio-based manufacturers and all of us who are part of the value chain that contributes to the bio-based products. We look forward to further conversations with you so we can do even more to grow America's bioeconomy. I don't want to bore you, but just a couple of the observations that I made of probably the commonalities of all of us. I, as a soybean farmer, do my best to provide you with a very sustainable product. We have been working, my kids are generation 4 on our farm, so we think that we keep learning things on how to do a better job and to give you a very sustainable product to work with. So I think that's one of the common threads that runs through the folks that take the products and manufacture and utilize what we do. The other thing that I heard that is very near and dear to my heart is the creation of jobs, not only for the small communities of which I'm a part of, but for the young people in particular, like Anastasia, with employing the veterans, young veterans coming home who may not have particularly marketable job skills. So this is a real good opportunity, as I see that, to give some folks, not only the current people, but the future generations, job opportunities. So the other thing that I heard was a lot of partnerships, a lot of things that you can do together. I know we on the United Soybean Board take a number of risks looking at high-oleic soybean oil involved in making motor oil and certain things like that. So it's really nice to see success stories. A lot of those take an incredibly long time to get to, but it's also gratifying when you get there. So with that, I'll turn it back to Karen, but I'd like to thank USDA for hosting us and thank all of you for your participation.
Thanks, and if there's no further word, have a safe trip home, and thanks again for coming. Anything else from any of you? We're good. I know where it is. Hey, you taking your phone?
Almost there. Just a month. Just a month. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you did?
It was funny. So when he asked us, I was like, well, at least he can say what he likes.
Okay.